Now we need to remove the top of the phone, this top left one here. The other's a posi drive. That's just totally come off with the camera shroud inside, so we obviously don't want to use that. It's in bad condition, it's very dusty. So I'm just going to push it out very carefully and fold this out. A way to get the microphone off is to get the flathead screwdriver and just rock it underneath until it's removed from the shroud, like so. And that's off there. This is rubbish, we don't need that anymore. And we'll put this to the side next to the screws that we've just removed from it. Now this phone has been repaired before by the looks of it. This is not a genuine screen. So the problem with that is we cannot copy the well, it's possible that they've copied the codes to this screen, but I wouldn't assume they have. So what we've got to do is we're going to test this screen now to see if the codes are on here for the True Tone. If they're not, then we're going to have to boot the phone up and see if we can get into the phone so we can directly take the codes off the phone for the new screen for the True Tone. Okay, so what we need to do is we have a JCID programmer. I've got the JCID V1SE here with many different attachments and connectors for it. But for now, the one we need is already on there, and that is the oh, it's not already on there. That's for the new ones up until the 14. We need the ones for the old type of screens. Just give me a sec, guys. Okay. There we go, we need that one. And the way to remove these, you don't yank them off. You do it very carefully, because keep taking these off on and off there is going to damage the connectors underneath. So you get one of these and you just rock it underneath like that. Just rock it carefully, and that's it. You get your new attachment for it. Pop that on there like that and get that turned on. Usually takes a bit for the kernel to start up and get set up. You'll know when it's ready because it'll bleep. And then what we can do is connect this screen to that and see if there's any codes that are saved on there. Okay, let's have a look then. So this will be connecting the touch, which is the bottom connector. The top one, the one most inner, is for the display. Yeah, so we'll connect that, and what we'll do is slowly touch the top of it until it finds where it needs to be, and it's connected. And as I thought, it doesn't look like it's got any codes on it. There's no codes coming up or anything like that. So whoever fitted the screen before didn't do a professional job at all, and they also have discarded the original screen, which obviously would have all the correct codes on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect the new screen to the phone just loosely, and then we're going to see if we can get into the phone and see if we can read the codes. If we can't get into the phone, then we're going to have to contact the customer for the PIN code. But if we can get into the phone, then it's much easier. So we'll see about that. So we'll get a new screen. It doesn't matter what brand it is or anything like that. Currently we're using NCC Prime screens, which are fairly alright, fairly cheap, but they do the job. And in the screen pack you get a screen, you get the adhesive for the chassis. Doesn't look like it's ever had any new adhesive on there. And also you get the screen as well, like that. Now while we're actually in effect testing the screen, we're going to leave all these covers on, all this blue stuff. We're not going to mess with any of that, because if there's anything wrong with the screen, then we're going to want to be able to send it back. So consider this a testing stage combined with getting the code stage as well. Okay, so we're going to pop this in the phone, and like I showed you before about connectors, just loosely rub your finger over the top of the connector. Don't push hard down. When you feel that it's in the seat, then push down and rock your finger forward and back like that. Same with the touch connector as well, which is the one that's furthest away. Find the seat, push down lightly, and then rock it forward and back. I didn't get it quite in there, so I'm going to try it again. There we go, it's in nicely now. And then we've got the battery connector to connect, which is here. So we're going to put that in, just rock your finger, make sure it's in. It'll just click nicely when it's in. And there we go. I'm not going to take off the warning signs or anything like that. Now we need to get the phone powered up. So we're going to plug the phone in. And we're going to wait until he powers up. And do you think he's going to power up? Let's see. There we go. There's the battery icon that's just come on the screen. You probably can't see that, but it is on there. And so now we're just going to wait for that to power up. While we wait for that to power up, we might as well give this a bit of a clean, just for good measure. If we're going to clean anything on an electrical device, we always use isopropyl alcohol. Currently we've got this. We've got like 5 litres of the stuff. So we use a bit of that and a toothbrush. Get it clean. Always make sure your toothbrush is clean when you did it. Pointless using the dirty toothbrush to clean something. And I always make sure that I don't dip my toothbrush into the main the main container for the isopropyl, because then that contaminates the whole lot. Okay, so there we go. We've got some isopropyl alcohol. We've got a nice clean toothbrush, or cleanish. Rub that in there, and we'll give it a clean. There we go. Turn it round, give it a bit of a clean that side. Not too much on the microphone area, but the other areas are okay. There we go. And the connector as well for good measure, why not? There we go. We always do a good job here, we never just cut corners. Alright, that's that nice and clean. Let's check on the phone. Still charging the battery, so we're going to have to wait a little bit for that. But while that's doing that, I can show you how the JCID works by using another screen that's come off another device. So we can literally, so if I take this one off, which is for iPhone 11 and under, and we'll put back on the one for the newer phones, like so. Turn it back on. And oh, the phone has come on now. And there's a pin code, so I will need to message the person that sent me the phone. Let's have a look. There we go, I've asked for the passcode. But anyway, if we get a this one's an iPhone 13, and on here I'll show you which way to connect it. And that's a genuine screen, so it should show up some data. There we go. There's a full amount of data on there. Well, you can see that. There you go. And what you can do on that is click reading, which means to read the phone data. Although it's already populated on there, reading it puts it reads it again and then puts it into memory. So we'll click reading. And then once that's done, we can actually just disconnect the phone screen from the JCID. Then we can program a different screen with that. So I will. This is another old screen, but I'm just going to show you as an example. There we go. That is connected. And we can go writing, and it'll ask you, is it an original or is it a third party? Now we know it's an original, this one, so we're going to click original, and then it writes the original screen and writes the true tone as well. True tone takes a little while. And there we go. It writes the all the screen data, and at the bottom there it says true tone success. Okay, so now that can be disconnected. That screen is programmed for another phone. Alright, okay, so while we're waiting for the person to send me the passcode, we can actually just get that screen ready, I think. Alright. So it's not charging the best really. But yeah, it is working. I think the charge port needs cleaning out as well, but we'll just do the screen for now. Okay, so let's get this phone turned off. Like so. Battery connector first, as usual. Then we'll disconnect the screen by lifting up the corners with a flathead screwdriver. Like so. So now we know that the screen's working, we can actually remove the blue plastic now. Blue plastic just protects the leaded cover underneath. We can just remove the top one for now. We've got a nice clean earpiece connector. Well, cleanish. The phone was pretty grimy. But anyway, now we can replace the earpiece connector. First thing to do is to push into place the top two connectors, or light sensor, like so. Make sure the microphone is within the little recess. Some of these usually have a little clip that attaches at the top to keep the light sensor in place, but this one that doesn't, because again the old repair people didn't do a very good job. Anyway, we've got that in place now. The first screw that I always put in at the top of the phone is the triple, for the simple reason is because it's harder to get that in after you've got in the other three. And also the top of the phone here flexes where the chassis cover is for the light sensor, so it's easier to get that in first and move around to get the other three in place. Now this area is also missing one of the screws, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ones I've got in for now, and then I'm going to find another one out of my box. So that's that one, and I've got an assorted little box of screws here, and let's find one that's going to be one to fit. And that one looks good. Possibly. Maybe. No, too big. Let's try this one. The most important thing as well is making sure that it's not too deep. Because if you get a screw that's too deep, then it can damage the back of the LCD. So never force any of these screws, always just let them fit in how they want to fit in. Let's try that one. Always back screw first as well. Never just go in and screw hard, because you can damage the thread. It's probably already damaged, which is probably the reason why I haven't already put the screw in, but we'll try again. Let's try that one. Yeah. Alright, let's try one more time with a smaller one. Let's try this little black one. Yeah, thread's damaged. Okay, so we're just going to leave that one out. There's nothing we can do about it. The thread is damaged. All right, so now we know the screens work, and we can remove this other blue cover. I've seen a lot of repair shops leaving them on. I don't recommend you leave them on, because then it adds a little bit more thickness to the back of the phone, and a lot of these replacement screens are thicker than the original ones anyway, and the last thing you want is even more thickness. So make sure you remove those. Remove the masking tape that holds the display ribbons into place. We don't need that. It's a mess. We want to make sure it's as much as factory as possible. And there we go. There is the completed display ready to go on the phone. Obviously it still needs programming, but it's how it should be. Next thing we need to do is to get this part of the phone all nice. As you can see, it's all dusty. It needs new adhesive around the edge. It looks like these cameras are very dirty as well, which is probably affecting face unlock. So I don't assume that that's working. Also, it's probably borderline pointless doing it as well, because the back is cracked and letting dust in. So, but we always do it just for make sure that we do our job correctly. We know we've done a good job. So if anything else happens to it, it's nothing to do with what we've done. You get me? Okay, so to get the adhesive off from the edge of the screen, we just use the same flathead screwdriver. We just lightly go around the screen like this and remove all of the old sticky. Keep just going slowly around it. You're not going to get it off quickly. It's best to take your time with it. And if anything sticks on any connectors or motherboard, make sure you just take them off with your fingers and not the screwdriver. Like this. Usually gets a bit dusty in these areas, but don't worry too much about it, because we're going to use some isopropyl alcohol to clean up these edges, ready to mate the new adhesive onto the chassis. A bit of sellotape there as well, out of someone's pocket or something. Some tissue. This is really grim. Probably need to get a new camera so you can see what I'm doing better. Maybe I should work on that. Okay. This side doesn't appear to have any adhesive on at all, because whoever changed the screen didn't add the adhesive. They just wanted to take the money and not do a proper job. This is the problem with all these shops. They just want your money quick. They don't really want to do a lot to get it. And it's hard to understand how they can even warrant some of the repairs that they do, because they're clearly below par and they're not skilled technicians. There we go. We've gone all the way around now. We've removed all the sticky that we can get removed. And what we need to do now is just checking this camera to make sure it's all right. It's got a big dent in the bottom of one of the ribbons, so it's debatable whether that's actually going to work or not. That is in the dot projection camera. I wonder if that goes all the way through. Looks like it does. So yeah, I bet there's a massive issue with that. It's probably not face unlocking anyway. But yeah, we'll still do a proper job. So now we need to get a cotton bud. There's our cotton buds, and there's our isopropyl alcohol from earlier that we put into a little container. Roll the cotton bud in there, angle the phone so we don't get isopropyl everywhere, and just rub it into the groove of the edge of the phone. Make sure it's all nice and clean and squeaky. If it doesn't squeak, then it's not good. As you can see or hear, that's nice and squeaky now. We'll do the bottom. We'll keep doing all the edges of the phone using the first cotton bud like that. Make sure get all these corners nice and clean, and we'll work all the way around. Get into here, get all that nice and clean. Make sure the surfaces are all nice and straight as well. Don't worry about if the top camera moves around a bit, it's meant to. There we go. And then what we do is we do it again with the other side of the cotton bud. Start in the same place and go around again. Like so. And we're going to clean up a bit of the exposed areas on the inside of the phone as well, just for good measure. And get rid of some of this dirtiness. Top of the motherboard a tiny little bit, just brush it over. SIM card tray, bottom speaker, and the Taptic engine. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so the next thing to do is we need to look at this top camera because it looks very dusty on there. It doesn't look like it's actually working well at all. It doesn't look very good at all. And also the back camera cover is currently very loose. As you can see, it's not even attached properly, and that's important to get that done as well. We don't really want that because then all the dust is getting, it looks like it already has done. I think I'll take it off first. Yeah, dust, full of dust. Also a loose screw at the bottom as well. I assume that's off the camera. There we go. Actually, it might be off the top of the other one. Off the top of the LCD. Probably not there. No, it's not. Okay, so we'll put that to the side. I assume it's the bottom of the camera. And while we're here as well, give it a bit of a blow. Getting some of these corners with the toothbrush. The toothbrush is not going to hurt anything. And also get this camera lens brushed with the toothbrush just so lightly, and not to cause any harm. Getting the corners at the top of the camera, the rear camera, sorry. Lightly brush the motherboard. Toothbrush is not going to hurt anybody. And same with the bottom as well, and the corners at the bottom of the phone. There we go. Jobs are good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to properly put this camera connector back on. Camera cover, sorry. And there's little grooves at the side of the camera, and it has to go in the grooves before anything. So we put those in first, then we will get the top screw put back in. Let's just get it nicely seated in the screwdriver. There we go. Turn back. When we hear it click, then we turn forward. This one's very worn down. Very worn down. Don't even know what's been going on with that. It doesn't look like they've even used the right screwdriver. Alright, so now that we've cleaned all that out, what we can do is come back to the top camera, just a little bit of isopropyl, and just give it a light touch over, because it was really dusty. It's going to be better than how it was left. That's the most important thing. And then we use the other side to give it a twist over like this, just to give it a nice cotton clean. And we can do it in all directions as well. If you hold your finger in front of it and then twist the cotton bud on it, it's almost like a little Dremel. Nice, kind little Dremel. There we go. And that is looking so much better already. Let's do it again that way. Yeah. Okay, so I'm happy with that. We can chuck that away. Now it's time to apply the adhesive. These adhesives are not generally as good as the factory ones, but it looks like this one's a decent one, being the fact that it's got a separate removal section within the adhesive. Sometimes you get cheap adhesives and they're just one piece, but this one is a lot thicker and a lot more silicone or rubber in with the contents of the adhesive. So now we've taken the first piece off. You can only take that off, there's no getting confused or anything. We've got the holes here, and those holes are for the top cameras. Let's not touch the adhesive, and we'll turn that around. Sorry. And then what we'll do is line up the first corner and push the adhesive into the top, just very lightly. Get it into the groove of the phone, and we'll lay the rest of the adhesive down as it wants to fall. Then what we'll do is, because we started at the top corner, we'll start at the other side of the phone first, the opposite side, and we'll lightly go over it with the flathead screwdriver. Don't use a big flathead, only a mini one, and just lightly brush over it like this, just to press all the adhesive onto the chassis as shown, like that. There we go. And we'll just go around again for good measure. There we go. Now on these adhesives, the next layer of blue plastic has got a little tab on it on the top right. So just lightly pull that tab up. Don't try and yank it up, because you might yank up all the rest of it that you want to keep stuck to the phone. And there we go, that's done as well. Now this is the triple layer adhesive that I was talking about. As you can see, there's another blue layer that goes all the way around the phone. So that is something that can be removed as well when you're ready to put the screen on, which we are. what I'll do is manually program the true tone when she gets back to me. She hasn't got back to me yet, but I might as well finish this job now. So we take off the third layer of plastic, and that exposes the final adhesive, which is nice and sticky, just like the factory one. This is not cheap adhesive. And then we do the same again. We apply the LCD connector first, which is the bigger one at the bottom of the display, and we're gonna just lightly rub it onto the connector, and when we feel where it's gonna go, then we'll rock our finger and then put it in place. Same with the digitizer connector. We're gonna feel where it goes, and it goes there. So now we're going to push down and rock our fingers a bit, and it's nice and set into the chassis, into the motherboard. With the earpiece connector, first of all, you're going to want to get it into the groove next to the battery and the motherboard. So you use your thumb to put it in the groove, so you've got your hand free. You use your left hand thumb just to guide it into that little area. Then you use your other hand just to roll it onto that connector. You find where it goes, push down, rock a little bit, and then we're all good. And the final piece of the puzzle is the battery connector, because the battery is disconnected to prevent damage to the motherboard while we're messing with all these other connectors. So now we do the same again, give it a little rock, make sure it's in the place. There we go. It's nice and on there now. Now the next thing we need to do is put the covers back on. So we've got this one, which is first. We always do this one first and then put the battery cover back on, because when we put the battery cover back on, there's a screw that's hidden under the connector here. So what we're going to need to do is make sure that this cover's on first, then we bring the screen forward, so then we can get to that screw without disconnecting that screen connector. So let's put that on, line up the screws, hold the screen, and then hold down the LCD cover, and we'll put the screws in back in order as we've got them on the desk. Like so. I think they've actually got the wrong screw in that place right there, so I'm going to replace that for good measure. It just doesn't go in properly at all. Again, bad repair work. So it's not only missing screws, but they've put screws back in the wrong place. There we go. Okay, now we need to find another couple of screws that can fit in this area. So we use the magnetic screwdriver, see if we can find anything that sticks out. Bound to be something here. That one looks good. Let's try that. Perfect. Now we need one more, the same sort of size, and there's one. Okay. There we go. Full set of screws now there. They're not too deep or anything like that. They're perfect. If you are fixing phones, I highly recommend you do keep a little screw pot just to have a good back. Oh shit! Yeah, this is Uncensored Repairs, guys. I am allowed to swear. I've just dropped all my screws inside the fucking phone. Yeah, it was going well, but that's a bit of a bastard. Right, give me a sec, guys. We'll get this sorted. Right. It doesn't help that the sticky is all exposed as well, so that they've stuck to the fucking sticky. Magnets in the camera as well, they're stuck to that. Fucking great. Use the tweezers for this. There we go. I think they're all gone now. I think so. Yep. Okay, they're all gone. Get that out of the way so I don't do it again. Okay, so the screen is now ready to be fitted. And what we're going to want to do is make sure that there's like little catches on the end of the iPhone 11 screen. I like to bend mine out just a little bit, just to make sure it catches on the top of the chassis here. So bend it out just a tiny bit. There we go, like that. And then we need to put the top of the screen in first. So we wiggle it a tiny little bit and push it in using the these two fingers like that. Then hold it in place using the other hand, turn it around. Then try and get these corners in first before the other parts of the phone. Once those corners are in like that, press the middle in, press the middle in. The reason is because if a phone has got a slight kink on it or the corners are slightly bent, you're going to want to get them in first. Otherwise, it's going to be extremely difficult to get them in when you've just sank the other LCD edges into the chassis. One thing I forgot as well was the battery connector, like a fucking idiot. So we're gonna get the screen off, drop it in, push it in. Too hard, sorry. And we're gonna do that, get that off, and yeah, put that on. So we're gonna need the tweezers for that, like so. And we're going to put these back in order, even though they are the same size screws. I always like to put them back in order. Like so. I know you probably can't see this, but I will get some new cameras. Okay, there we go. So those are in now, battery connectors on, the battery covers on, everything's on. So now we can actually properly set this screen to the chassis. Okay, so we've put the top in, now we put the corners in, like I just showed you, then we do the sides, then we do the sides, like that. Put the top back on the isopropyl. Then we put the pentalobe screws in. Like this. And let's get the top put back on this thing as well before I spill the screws again. And that is how you repair an iPhone 11 LCD. So let's check it's all working now that it's all back together. There we go, Apple sign comes on. Now we'll just remove this. Oh yes. And there we go. Fully repaired. Like I said, I will redo the True Tone on this when the customer gives me the passcode, because I need the passcode to get the JCID to connect to the phone. But yeah, that's job's a good one, and I'm sure the customer will be happy. And as you can see, guys, I did do a proper job with every part of it, except for dropping the screws in the top of the phone. What can you say? Thanks for watching.